we can ask you to start typing into the, for those that just came in, to kind of quickly introduce yourself into the chat window. Yeah, why are you here, and are you new to mentoring? Is this going to be your first mentoring assignment in your life, or have you done thousands of mentoring engagement before? You're very experienced. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. Okay, are we all here? Should we get started? Are we okay to start? Yes, I think someone just came in. We have Andy. Good morning, Andy and Avakash.
Yeah. The rest of there's one more. Florence is joining us in a short while.
Yeah. Okay, I think she's in already, and Joey is here as well. Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. Again, just a reminder to type into the chat window to introduce quickly yourself, why you're here, and whether you're new to mentoring. Okay, please do that as we speak. Okay, well, can we start now? Everybody's here, right? I believe. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. Again, good morning, everyone. A big welcome to this morning. I think for a lot of you, it will be a refresher about mentoring and some of the mentoring skills. But I want to give you a particular perspective about mentoring from Asia Institute of Mentoring. Yeah, and let me just go. Let's go right into it. We have about 3 hours, so we'll try to end today's session by 12:15, latest by 12:30. Yeah, we do have quite a good program lined up for you. Introduce you quickly. My partner in crime this morning is it's been my partner in crime for a couple of years already with AIM. Hog Lai he's a daytime he's a co-founder at YUM, a youth religious teaching or wisdom teaching startup, and also he's a founder of Shift Plus. And a very experienced senior executive. I'm very fortunate to have him on my team. And he's also a volunteer COO at AIM.
Thank you, Yen Lu. My internet could be a bit unstable, but okay, let's hope for the best. So I'm here to introduce Yen Lu. I don't know how much introduction he needs. He's the founder of AIM. Started, I think, in the tech world, Apple, and then became a serial entrepreneur in business, in tech, and now more in the social impact space. He has started like 8 social enterprises, as he said before, and now mostly in AIM and in the Whole Tree Foundation. So it's always a bit of both. We hear from Yen Lu, and there's like he said, it's a very thin line between what we do in mentoring and in terms of the overall mental wellness of everyone. So it's been a privilege to work with him. I learned a lot from him so far. Yeah, so I'm sure we will all benefit from his wisdom today.
Thank you. Thank you. The wisdom's in the crowd. Thank you. Yeah, the wisdom's in the crowd. And we all learn from each other. But we're gonna have a good conversation this morning. Okay, let's go. Okay, for those of you who don't know so much about AIM, let me just gonna tell you a bit more about AIM. Yeah, those of you who see this logo all the time on my screen here must be wondering, what is this logo about? So you can see that the logo says Asia Institute of Mentoring, to share, to learn, and to share and to learn, right, and to give forward, and so on. The logo here is, what does it look like? It's a shape of a lotus flower. It's a shape of a lotus flower, 7-leaf lotus flower. A lotus, as you know, symbolizes rebirth, awakening, transformation. So for us, it's transformation through mentoring. Our mission here is to grow. We're on a sacred mission to grow people through mentoring. Our purpose then is to grow mentors like yourself and all over Asia, and really to raise, not just to raise, but we want to set the standard for mentoring here in Asia, to set the standard and really expand the mentoring ecosystem everywhere to all aspects of the society, and therefore spreading the benefits of mentoring to impact millions of lives. I believe we are on our way. You know, for those of you who have been mentored by someone in your life and have benefited from this mentoring relationship, will naturally want to give it forward. That is the ripple effect we want to start. That is the ripple. That is the movement. That's the movement that we want to start here at Asia Institute of Mentoring. We are on our way. I'm so confident and so happy that there is something that this movement is already, you know, it has started. And it's my dream and vision, our dream and vision at Asia Institute of Mentoring. We are, for the longest time, a volunteer-run organization. You know, we are, even today, we're 90% volunteer-run. We're here, we're by volunteers, for volunteers like yourself, right? You are volunteer, you're coming here today to volunteer your time and your energy, in this case, to mentor the young people, the next generation, who in turn, you know what, because you mentor them, they benefit from your wisdom, right? And your mentoring, they naturally want to pay it forward. So they will become volunteers themselves. And because of this, what we are, our mission, our intent, we now have a community. We have created a community over the 2.5 years with over 3,000 people, of very like-minded people like yourselves who want to do this, who want to pay it forward. Yeah, using your wisdom and your time and your talent, right? Okay. Okay, introduce you, say a bit quickly about this morning's program. Okay, some of you may know we have a certified professional mentor program. Some of you actually have attended it, and a few of you have started in the middle of the current batch. That program is essentially a 7-module 4-day program that spreads over nearly 2 months. We're not going to do that today. We don't have the time. We won't be doing the CPM program today, but we try to select some of the more practical stuff, you know, about mentoring that I want to share with you this morning. I know many of you are experienced mentors, right? So hopefully, you know, I know a lot of this stuff. Hopefully for you, this will be a refresher. For those of you who are new to this, hopefully there's something for you to take away this morning. Okay, let's go, Ryan.
Yeah, so like what Yan Lu was saying, most of you are experienced from all your introduction experience mentoring, either internally in your organization or even mentoring for some years. A lot of you are coaches or have been very senior in what you do. So in some form or another, you would have started mentoring. But maybe we can start with this basic question of what is a good mentor? And what do you think, what is mentoring? So maybe what do you think, what a mentoring is to you? If you could all type it into the chat group, into the chat function, what is mentoring to you? There are many people who talk about, have different ideas of what mentoring is. Even before we started this event, between Braille, myself, and Yan Lu, we even have nearly 15 minutes of discussion of what each of us thought mentoring is. And so each of us has our own mind about it. So please, maybe everyone can start to type into the chat, what is mentoring? What is mentoring to you?
You'd be surprised, you know, sometimes we ask 10 people and they all have slightly different version of what mentoring is all about. So it's
which is okay too.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's, you know, in fact, that's encouraged.
Yes. So we have Daniel. Mentoring is like serving as a role model. Yes. Wow, mentoring. Advising, counseling, coaching. Yes. Because they have traveled the road and mentee wish to follow. Yes. And we have a bit about coaching here. We'll not go into that too much discussion of difference between mentoring and coaching. That can open up a lot of discussion. To lead another person, that's what Edmund say,
Yeah.
awareness of self and surrounding, both for the mentor and the mentee, yes.
Yeah,
And share your lessons and
lessons.
mistakes.
Yes,
yes.
I like that one as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Building a trust environment, mentoring with your mentoring partner. Yes, we don't even call them mentee, the mentoring partner, yes. An experienced opportunity to discover, develop themselves, and continue to learn from each other. That's right. In my own journey, I learned a lot from the mentoring that I do from the mentee myself. Mentoring is a win-win for both, yes. Mentee can gain a lot and the mentor can give a lot. So both are in the giving and receiving space. Yes, thank you, Andy. Moon Lake, sharing one's life journey, hearing the other's life journey, and learning both ways. Yes, that's nice.
Yeah, nice.
Healing. To give time, yes, and that is the most valuable things we can give someone is our time. To guide the person to understand better about themselves, yes. To motivate them, motivating them on the path forward, learn and share. Offer guidance to someone, that's what Pin Lung say, yes. Benefit by learning from each other. Yes. So we can see it's a lot of, one more coming in, Rebecca. It's likened to a light along the path, yes, to guide and point the mentee towards the right direction, a trusted partner along the journey, yes. Trust is very important in the whole journey with our mentee, and it takes time to build. A shoulder to cry on, that's being a friend, and celebrate life successes, and go through the difficulties, those when we cry, yes. Shok Bin, guidance, mentee on how to achieve her goals based on her own timeline and possibilities, yes. Her own, that's very important, the mentee's own time, own choice, yes. So very comprehensive. It covers, I think, everything that we can all think about mentoring, and a lot about guidance and building trust, showing the way. And we were talking about showing the way by role modeling, sharing your own life journey, your experiences. So besides giving your time, you're giving your experiences to the mentee. And most important, what I also hear is that the mentee must be able to see, to let the mentee see their possibilities, their potential, the path they have in front of them, and let them choose how they want to progress in this path. So good, thank you very much. I think this encompasses very well and also very aligned with the AIM philosophy of mentoring.
So the other thing that I think some of you, and also, you know, Hock Lai raised the issue of seeing, you know, someone's potential, you know, so you know, I think especially in the Asian context, in Singapore context particularly, I think, and especially if you work with young people a lot, one of the challenges that we have is that because of the education system and the culture, young people are most of the time, you know, they are because they're taught, right? They're taught about their weaknesses, not so much their strength. We always tell them, whether it's in the education or in the home, that we're not good enough. That, you know, this is not, you got a A-. Why didn't you get an A+? You know, it's about perfection rather than improvement. You know, so I think in our work, young people, they have a lot of self-limiting beliefs. So I think as mentors, and especially on this journey, it's very important that we unlock that. We unlock that for them, you know, to see their true potential. Because I believe, sorry, my slides are still somehow locked. I believe that each human being has unlimited potential, right? That can be unlocked, and you know, that can manifest over an entire lifetime. You know, learning begins the moment we get out of school, right? So anyway, so I think that's our one of our collective responsibility, to unlock that potential that's in young people today. All right, so that we got a little bit about what about mentoring. What is mentoring? That's great for. Thanks everyone for sharing, your views and your own personal experience. We at AIM, we want to say we invented mentoring, but of course we'll be lying if we say that. Because mentoring has been around as long as modern civilization has been around. Let me take you back to 2,500 years ago. You know this man. You might know this man, Socrates. Right? He's known as the father of modern philosophy. What you may not know. So a lot of philosophical, the great work of philosophy came from him and his disciple, his students. What you may know is that Socrates was the mentor, was a teacher to Plato, another great philosopher and teacher. Plato himself was also a great mentor and teacher to Aristotle. Oh, not yet. To Aristotle. And guess what? Aristotle was the mentor to you know who? To Alexander the Great. Do you know Alexander the Great? Of course, right? Alexander the Great conquered half of the known world at that time. Yeah, in Greek. Of course, he was Greek. Right? Unfortunately, he died very young when he was still in the 30s. So what? Okay, so let's move on. So that was Socrates. Next slide, please.
Now I'm stuck.
Okay. These things, the timing of things. At the same time as Socrates lived, about 25 years, in the East, in China, it was born another great philosopher. You all know him, right? Yeah, we can use this is fine. This is, of course, he was Confucius. Everybody knows Confucius, right? He's considered the father of Eastern philosophy. His teachings is spread all over Asia, even globally. Okay, Confucius he's a great teacher. In fact, you see on my slide here, 至圣先师. If you know Chinese, it translates to the teacher of teachers. He was in fact the teacher of all teachers. That's how much we respect him. He had Confucius himself had about 3,000 students or disciples or mentees who spread his teaching throughout China, throughout the rest of the world. That passed on for many generations. What most people don't know, though, is, next slide, please. This man, this is, for those of you who don't know him, this is Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu. Okay, Lao Tzu was, according to history, was the mentor to Confucius. Confucius visited him 3 to 5 times in his lifetime. It was Lao Tzu, who is now, by the way, he's considered by many now to be one of the great, if not the greatest philosopher and meta-scientist the world has ever known. Through his teaching and writing in Dao De Jing. By the way, those who haven't read it, I highly recommend it, or at least a translated version of it. Okay, it was Lao Tzu and his mentoring brought Confucius to great heights as a philosopher and a teacher. So what is the lesson here? Whether you want to be a world conqueror, whether you want to be a great philosopher, we all need a mentor, right? From Alexander the Great to Confucius, we all need a mentor. In fact, we need mentoring. We need mentors for all walks of life, right? In all walks of life. Okay, next, please. Okay, yeah, I think we did this exercise already. Hawk Lai led us through this exercise of what is mentoring. Yes, and what can we expect from mentoring? Hawk Lai, do you want to continue from there?
Yeah, so I think what we can do now is to move on to same way of participating. What do you think are the benefits of mentoring? Maybe we can start from to the mentees. What is the benefit of mentoring for the mentees. Could all of you please start to type into the chat? Gain confidence. Daniel said gain confidence. Any more? Discover themselves.
Yes.
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
Yes, very much. Listen to other experiences. Open perspective. Yes. To learn. Very much why the mentee is searching for a mentor very much is to learn about himself and to learn about things that he want to get to, the skills, the direction he want to go. To get a holistic perspective, a view that he probably didn't have himself, his own blind spot. Yes. A personal cheerleader. Yes.
Yes, I think we all need cheerleaders, right?
Yes.
Life can be tough sometimes.
Right. To learn and to feel hope. Yes.
Yes.
Gain confidence and clarity. And to provide that kind of confidence and clarity, you need to give the mentee hope. Hope is very important.
Very important. Very, very important. Yeah.
To gain insight into issues, yes, areas that he might not have seen, the blind spot that he might have, and to see things from a different perspective. We all need different perspective. We live in a world of very different view, very diverse view. So it's always good to have a different perspective. And especially if we are stuck, somebody help us to see things in another way.
Yeah. I always like to say that we live in our own bubble.
Yes.
You know, we live in our own bubble, and we have to be aware of that, which bubble we live in. You know, other people may live in a very different kind of world. Right. Our mentee could come from a very different kind of place.
Someone who believes in them for sure. To let him see, I think somebody typed that some earlier about to let them see the potential that they have, the possibilities. Self-awareness, strength and weaknesses, yes. Build and trust to grow, build on trust to grow, someone is listening, etc. So I think it's quite obvious to us that mentees have a lot to gain from the mentor, for the mentoring relationship. I think it will be interesting for us to now reflect, and with some of us having experience in mentoring, what is the benefit of mentoring relationship to the mentor? He's giving his time, he's sharing his experience. So what is he benefiting from, or he or she benefiting from such a relationship? A sense of purpose in life.
I like that one. Yeah.
How do you think you're benefiting, or how you benefit as a mentor?
Yeah.
James said also true. Okay.
Yeah, grow as a better person.
Sense of gratitude, paying it forward because we benefited. We want to be able to give it forward, and that the opportunity itself is something that we can be grateful for. Yes. Reverse mentoring, learning from my mentee. Yes. Gaining pulse of the young generation. Yes, that's how I learn. When I mentor my mentee, I start to learn new things that they are interested in, learn about how they see world quite differently from us. And it broadened my view, a very diverse view. Giving back, growth. Yes, we gain friends, learning new things, and opportunity to continue learning, yes, in a different culture. In a way, make us young again. Continue to
yeah.
keep us young, keep us real.
Who doesn't want to be young again?
Keep us real.
Who wants to
feeling
be young
that
again?
I make a difference.
Raise your hand if you want to be young again. Yeah.
And yes, it's a privilege to be able to mentor, for someone to let you, give you this, the permission into their space, the challenge that they have. It is a privilege to learn about ever-changing world, yes, and to impact the different generation. Yeah, the impact we can continue to have in the past, in the work that we do on things, on processes, on businesses, and now more opportunity to make an impact on others, on other people, so that they can go on and make the impact to the world. Remove generation gap between yourself and the younger generation, yes. That's provided we are always thinking that mentoring is from an older person to a younger person. I look forward to also being mentored by a younger mentor. And I'm still looking. Getting better than receiving, yes. And keep us young, know the different world, pay it forward, yes.
Yeah.
So you see, there's so much we can gain from our experience as a mentor. And that's why we see that people who mentor continue and coming back to mentor for more. And in AIM, we have many mentors who come and say, give me more mentees. And that's why we have such program to attract more mentees to what we do here. And Dee said, challenge to distill my own experience into bite-sized chunks of wisdom in a way that ultimately help the mentee to progress forward. Yes, always challenge. Every mentoring session, we are challenged as much as the mentee to be able to be impactful, to be able to make that session meaningful. We will always be challenged, and that keeps us alive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
In my own experience, and let me just share. I found. I mean, we talk about again this who benefits from this mentoring engagement or relationship. Right? For me, I think I for my own personal growth and learning, I find that mentoring someone, it's one of the best ways that I can learn and grow. I mean, without learn about myself, right? Learn about the world, learn about other people. So I think it's something so fulfilling and satisfying about that. And helping someone, right? To me, someone say, oh, okay, I helped that. Somehow I touched that person or impact that person in some way, shape, or form, and vice versa, right?
Thank you, Ian.
Thank you. Oh, thank you for
sharing.
Here
is a quick summary of, and a lot of it has been already typed into the group. That's why we always believe that the knowledge is always in the room and not what we have on the slide. So for the mentor, learning through feedback, yes, insight into relationship, opportunity to be challenged, because sometimes our mentee can challenge the way we see the world. And we might keep some way of looking at the world that is quite different from what they are facing. And that is real. And that I personally benefit the most. When I'm in a relationship and when I'm challenged, maybe he don't challenge me, but when I see what he's going through, then it helps me get real. This is the real problem. I could sit in my own desk and think about it, write about it, but it's still in my head. But when you see it happening with someone, then that is real. That keeps it real. A way of being in touch with new ideas, esteem recognition through mentorship achievement, yes, personal growth and development, increased self-awareness. And for the mentee, just now we have it, definitely a source of advice. It's a space to reflect, access to new network. So one of the things we can do as mentor is to provide our mentee our network. We can't be able to help him in every way. In every part of his life, he plays different roles, and we can be experienced in some. So we can always draw on the network that we have to help our mentee. And then that's where the mentee get access to the mentor's network. So it's a new network for him. It's a safe learning environment, personalized help, because this is not just, we can all learn from reading a book, self-help book, but it's only through this one-to-one that I feel that my help, that the help I'm getting is very personalized to the problem that I face. And the view that I have can be broadened. Increased job satisfaction, this is in the work context, and definitely for both the mentor and mentee, a increased self-awareness. And that is where the trust is important, so that we can be more vulnerable in that relationship. And through vulnerability, we can become more self-aware. Right here, I would like to play a video.
So we get a lot of questions about being a mentor. What does it mean to be a mentor? Will you be my mentor? Will I be your mentor? Things like that. Here's what I've learned about mentorship. Mentorship is not something you ask somebody to do. Like, will you be my friend? It doesn't work like that. When you find somebody you get along with, you share values, you share beliefs, you spend time with them, you get to know them, you develop trust, you take, you're vulnerable with them, you open up to them, and you discover that you become friends. It's what happens. You start off as simply acquaintances. In my experience, mentorship is exactly the same. There were people who were much more experienced than me, who had wisdom that I didn't have, and when I would call them, they would take my calls. And when I would ask them questions, they would always take the time to give me answers. And over the course of time, they became my mentors, like they became my friends. And I remember one time I was with one of my mentors, Ron Bruder, an amazing guy, and I was leaving his house and I put my arm around him and I said, I'm glad you're my mentor. And he looked at me and he said, I'm glad you're mine. And it caught me completely off guard. And true mentorship, like true friendship, is not a one-way street. It's not about one person only giving advice to the other. Both people are showing up to give, and both people are showing up to learn. But you can't ask someone to be your mentor, especially someone who's a total stranger, knock on their door and say, will you be my mentor, if they don't know you and you've never met them. It's like friendship. You cultivate a relationship, and if that person is always there for you and wants to see you thrive and succeed and believes in you, then perhaps they will become your mentor, like making a friend.
Wow. Well, what do people think of that? By the way, I love Simon Sinek. I love some of his teachings. He makes ideas, complex ideas so easily understood. And he summarizes, a lot of things about mentoring that I think he summarizes so succinctly, right, in this very short video. What came out for you? You want to share some of that? What are the few things that came out? There are a few things that came out for me in watching this video. What came out for you in watching this video? Can you share that with us?
Mentors are like friends. Yes.
Mentors are like friends. Yes. What else? There are a few things that were very noteworthy.
Yeah, it takes time and chemistry. I agree very much.
Yes. Being real, authentic. Yeah, two-way learning. We keep on coming back to this point. Yeah, it's a mutual relationship, two-way traffic. Absolutely. Anything else? Built on trust. Yeah. So it's a relationship that's built on trust, and that's mutual, and it's two-way. And mentorship kind of emerges out of that. It's not something that the thing that you really, and that's got me thinking a lot, is that something that emerges out of a relationship, whether you go to someone and say, will you be my mentor? But in some ways, if we think about it, in some ways, this is what we're trying to do here, right? A lot of us, we're trying to match, quote unquote, match a mentor to a mentee and hope something will work out, isn't it? We do our best job. We do our best to try to match. We spend a lot of time. I know Braille spent days doing the matching of the mentors and mentees for the MYMCA. I personally spend also days, doing the matching for our own mentoring program. But then the question is, but then this goes against what Simon says about mentoring. So this is going to be your homework to go home and figure this out, okay? How this works.
Yeah, and
how we're trying to do mentoring now, and versus mentoring. Gosh, it's something that's built on long-term relationship. That's you have trust and you have vulnerability. Yes, Hock Lai?
No, I was just going to say that the clue is in the last comment made by Ping Lun, that potentially long-term, the mentoring relationship.
Yes. So yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Most of my relationships are long-term, you may not see them regularly, but when but there are times when you need to go to them or they come to you, right?
Yeah.
It could be like a year later, you say, oh, Yan Lu, I have this, I'm going to, what do you think?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, okay. Or I go to another person, hey, I have this challenge. What do you think? That kind of thing. And it could go on.
Yeah.
But then what I want us to think about is, then the challenges in this 3-month program, for example, that we just started here, right? How do we create that? that we're talking about here? How do we create that trust and that authenticity and vulnerability, right? So to make this 3-month an engagement, of course, this 3 month can last on. Well, we hope that it won't end after 3 months, right? But but then how do we create that for your mentee and for yourself, And just so that's something to think about and to be mindful of. And we'll show you a few skills, right? We're gonna share a few skills for you to help you to do that. Okay, let's move on. Do you want me to share? Should I continue sharing? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do it.
Okay, I do it. Okay, this is good. Teamwork.
We're playing some kind of like a tennis,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So good. Okay, next.
The one before, the slide before.
This one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So before we go in and to look at some of the skills we think is important as a mentor, maybe what we can do is to go around the room again, and can all of you share what do you think would be a mentor will be doing or saying that will make you think that he is a good mentor? What behavior will he be exhibiting to make you think that he is a good mentor? Could you all share that in the chat? What behavior will the mentor be exhibiting to show that he is a good mentor? He appears sincere, yes, willing to listen, open and non-judgmental, creating a safe environment, initiate opening up. He's a good listener, and I think you all know how to show to be a good listener. Be present, be aware. Yes, where 80% listening, that means you should be seeing that, or you can be seeing that the mentee is talking more than the mentor. Active listening, skillful conversationist, asking questions. You will see that the mentor is asking more questions than giving the answers. Listening, support, challenge the mentee to make good decisions. So challenge it. Sometimes you push him a bit more. Can you do more? What can you do better? The kind of pushing that you do for it. Listening, willing to share authentically. Yeah, not just sharing all your successes because you want him to follow, but also share about your failures and what lessons have you learned from it. So that is also what a good mentor will do. Establish trust. They feel safe to tell you certain things and know that confidentiality is kept. It's a safe environment, no judgment. Available, yes. Calm.
Yeah.
Trustworthy, a listener. Open-minded.
Yeah, open-minded. Yeah.
Yes. Curious means asking a lot of questions again and listening to all the answers. Honest in sharing good challenges. And recognizing that it is their journey and not yours. Yes, well said, James. Yes. Always letting them know that, I think you will not hear something like, trust me, just do it this way. It worked for me, it should work for you.
Trust me. Yeah.
Trust me, I'm a doctor.
Trust me, I'm the expert. I'm the expert.
Yes. Paying attention to what the mentee needs, what the mentee is looking for. Yes. And that takes, all this takes time. All this takes a good intention. And all this takes even preparing yourself before going into a session. Because if you are rushing from another meeting and already all your head is filled with what was happening in the last meeting, you need to be able to give that time and that space to your mentee. So you need to prepare, you need to give yourself that time. Yeah. Holding them in unconditional regards. Yes. I think respect for your mentee, both for yourself and for the mentee, is very important. And that comes through.
that
Even if
comes-
you just say it but don't mean it, it will come true. So the real respect for your mentee is very important. Yes. So thank you. And this will set our frame set our frame for the next few section of today, and what we are trying to discuss. Next slide, please. Yes. So here is a survey done by Blessing White survey about what makes a good mentor. And this is from the mentee's view. So a lot of them say that the most important part, which is quite equally divided, is challenge and stretch me. And we all mentioned that many times. Push me to see my potential and not just see it, but go for it, go after it. Be guided by personal insights. We don't have that, the mentee might not have the experience yet. And so we can provide that. That's where we can provide them with a bit of insight and knowledge. Then trust, treated as a unique individual, that's come down to the respect part, and inspire me to achieve my potential. And that comes with either role modeling or showing that he's possible, and even sometimes challenging him, and not just always a cheerleader. You should sometimes, I mean, as mentor, we can also sometimes point out where he is not doing enough or something like that. And of course, providing useful feedback towards my goal and encourage me to take risks. That's what most mentee will be saying about what they feel is a good mentor to them. And this is from their experience. Okay, thank you. Yen Lu, would you like to take
Sure.
the
Yes.
next part?
Yes, I think mentoring is a two-way relationship. I think we said this again and again and again, and many of you share this as your own personal experience as well. It's absolutely the case. You know, traditional view of mentoring is I teach, you learn. But nowadays, more and more, it's going to be about, you know, it's about a relationship, isn't it? It's about a mutual, you know, engagement. It's about something that both will learn and grow from this relationship. So I think this is a two-way street, and this is something that we keep on coming back to the same point again and again and again. Both the mentor and the mentee will learn and grow from the relationship. And that's why we love to mentor, because we can grow and learn, which is not just teaching. You know, we can benefit as well. Okay, we're going to go right into some skills, right? Which is kind of one of the main topics of this morning, about communication skills, core skills. Not all the skills, because we don't have the time this morning, but we could try to, you know, try to share some of the core skills, do some practices as well. Okay, I'm gonna come back to Lao Tzu again. Remember this guy that mentored to Confucius, one of the greatest, if not the world's greatest philosopher. So this is one of his teaching. He talks about, Lao Tzu talks about, you know, knowing oneself. Same as Socrates. Knowing oneself is true wisdom. And to master oneself is true power. So this is a journey of self-awareness and self-mastery. We're going to come back to this again and again. I know many of you mentioned self-awareness. The next step to self-awareness is self-mastery. So let's do a little bit of exercise on awareness or self-awareness. Okay, I know a couple of you had done this before, but that just pretend you haven't done it before. Okay, that just humor me. Let's do this exercise. What I want you to do now is to look at this painting that you have in front of your screen, and tell us what do you see in this painting, and just type that into the chat window. What do you see in this painting? What do you see in this painting? Can you share that with us now? Nice waterfall and maple leaves, absolutely. The fall, okay. So there's seasons, there's fall, waterfall. Wow, there's life, flow of life, flow. Waterfall, maple leaves, seasons. There's flow of life. Some people see peace or peace in movement. Braille sees beauty. Of course, it's beautiful, isn't it? There's autumn. Water flows energy. Yes, anything that's flowing has energy. Anything that's not flowing also has energy, right? Latent energy. Okay, serenity, calmness, beauty of nature. Absolutely. Constancy, nature. Anyone else? Rocks. James, you see rocks? Maybe leaves are in the ground. Okay, fluid does not. Autumn, quietness. Very good. Okay, any more? So most of us, and rightly so, see water, of course. See the leaves, see the seasons. It's autumn, right? Because the leaves has turned colors. James see rocks also, because there could be rocks underneath. For sure, there'll be rocks underneath. Right? Anybody see the fish? Anybody see the fish in the water? Anyone? Some people see energy. Yes. Anybody see the butterfly that's behind that tree? Anybody see the butterfly? A lot of you see lives. Anybody see the universe? Anyone can see the universe in this. Anyone can see the universe? Yes, of course, right? This is what's here. It's also out in the universe. This is the microcosm of the universe. Everything, 100% of things that are found in the universe is found right here in this photo, or 99.9%. Yes, all the material, all the elements in nature is right here. Yeah. Oh, there's somebody can feel the breeze. Yeah. Somebody see life. Of course, it's life. This is life. This is season, because season is a flow of life, isn't it? Let me ask you one more question. Do you see yourself in this photo, in this painting? Do you see yourself in this painting? Do you see yourself in this painting? Yeah, many people say yes. Yes. Do you see yourself in this painting? First of all, we are all, the point about what's in the universe is, what's out there is here, right? The universe, so you are, in fact, what's in this painting is also in you, right? Because you're a microcosm of the universe, right? So you're in this photo. Second thing is that there's a saying that some of you may know, right? The world is not out there, the world is in here. What we see in this painting, actually what we see in anything, it's a reflection of who we are, right? This is our perspective of the world, of this painting, of the world. So the question for you is, so again, the world is not out there, the world is in here. Here in your mind, in your perception. So the question I have for you is, what world is your mentee living in? What does he or she see? Can you see that same world? Okay. So this is the highest level of awareness, right? As men, when we go on our own mentoring journey, this is something that will become, more and more as we increase our own self-awareness, as we increase our own awareness of others, we will increasingly be more aware of not just what's happening in us, but what's happening out there, what's happening in our mentee, what has happening in others, right? This is the exercise in awareness. Okay, let's go right into about listening. I think a lot of you are, I mean, you're a seasoned practitioner of coaching, and many of you are mentoring already. That listening is, in fact, the #1 skills, right? Good listening, because, you know, from this you know, from this holy list, talked about, you know, because when we listen, we can actually learn something new about the other person. And when we listen also, when we truly listen, the other can feel that they are heard, that you are present. How important is that, to be heard, to be understood? So this is the first, you know, if anything, there's the first thing that we and all good mentors should do, is to listen. Okay, let's do another short video, shall we?
Sam,
Yes, Amy.
can I talk to you a minute?
Sure. What's up?
Today's the day I'm supposed to lead the team meeting for the first time, but I'm really nervous about it. I just don't know if I can do it.
Well, did you ask Craig? He's really good at leading meetings.
Well, no, I didn't. And I don't really want to copy his style. I just...
Well, did you rehearse it? I mean, you prepared your notes, right?
Okay. What do you guys think? You want to type in your reactions to this very short video? What do you think of the mentor's response? Based on what we just talked about, what good mentors do? Not interested in helping. Not listening. What else?
Not connect.
Coming up with solutions. Looking irritated, yeah, okay. Eager to solve the problem. Okay, not giving the space to listen. Task focus, yeah, as well. No validation, yeah, yeah. Gosh, all the above. Not really listening, right? Actually, didn't bother to show that he cares. He wants to listen, right? That he cares about the mentee and her issues or challenges. Offering solutions without first listening and understanding, right? That's one of the first, you know, or do you try this? Why don't you do this? And no, yeah, that kind of thing. Understanding exactly. Okay, I think everybody got a pretty good idea what just from that very short interaction. All the things that we talked about earlier about what a good mentor does, they did not show up in this mentor, did it? Okay, all right. Let's move on.
Lou, if I could.
Yes,
share
please.
this.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Yes,
I
please.
think it was in one of the other class that this video was shown, and I think somebody brought up a very important perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, we are only seeing this 2 minutes of video, and we can judge from how good the mentor is. But if we look at the context around it, he might be very busy, and he might be trying to get something out, and he was just asked a question by his mentee. So it's important for us to always give the fullest attention to our mentee. And when we can't, we must try to set space. We should try to set that space for it. So one good way for him, a suggestion for him could be, okay, let me finish this and I'll give you my full attention. And maybe when he did that, he could be in his behavior a very good mentor to the mentee. And try not to match too many things at one time, multitask, trying to be a mentor and trying to finish his homework at the same time. So giving that dedicated time is important. Also, that's what came out for me on this. Yeah.
Oh, yes, thank you for that. I think that's a very valid point. I think, I think, I mean, what how Clyde said, I think so the takeaway is if you're busy and if you're distracted and if you're focused on what you're doing on your at hand, then, then don't, right? Don't try to do mentoring in that moment in that instant in time. Right, because that's not gonna be you're not gonna be in a good state to be a good mentor, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. So yeah. So basically say, well, sorry, I'm busy right now. Hey, I'm gonna be free in an hour or so. Maybe let's go and have a coffee. That kind of thing, and let's sit down and talk about this. Yeah, that kind of thing, rather than trying to shoot out right solutions without understanding. Yeah, which is, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, very good. Thank you. Very good point.
If I may just jump in, just to remind all of us that because we are dealing with the youths, the mentees that we are dealing with are youths, a lot of them communicate through applications like WhatsApp chat or even Telegram and things like that. So they may not necessarily call you, but I like to encourage all of us to remember that we don't have to immediately reply to them, and be very aware of our own state before we reply, because it's so easy to just type onto the phone and just shoot out a message. But because it is a message, there is no human touch. We need to take extra care to think about our own state and also our mentee state and what state they are in, because we don't have that human connection, especially through writing. So I think it's important to recognize that. And of course, I trust and believe that all of you, when you prepare for your mentoring meetings with your mentees, you would recognize and prepare your own state. But just remember, because we are dealing with youths, they usually will probably chat with you. So yeah, so I thought just something to a good reminder for all of us.
Yeah, it's a good point, Braille. Thank you for sharing that. Very important one as well. Now in day and age, right? It's a lot about texting. I mean, one of the things and those of you who have been through our CPM program will know this, but we won't have time to go into it, is that one of the things we really highly encourage, before you go into a mentoring engagement, a meeting, is that we center ourselves first. Yeah, and we bring ourselves at least in a reasonably good state, and some of you mentioned calmness, in that calm space. And be in a state to ready to listen and to ask good questions and to be present. Oh my God, I'm froze again.
You're frozen?
Yeah, I'm frozen. Can you unfreeze? Turn on the temperature.
I can share just that, then we can't play the next video.
That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay. I'm okay. I'm okay now.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm
Now.
okay now. Okay, let me. Okay, yeah, I'm okay now. Let me go to the next one.
Okay.
Can you see?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay. All right. So now we're talking about active listening. I think a lot of you already know what this is about. So yeah, we give it away already in terms of what do we listen with. But anyway, can we just again do a very quick exercise? What ways are you as a mentor can make your mentee feel like he or she is being fully heard? Can you give us some examples of that? Just type share with us in your chat window. Ways that you as a mentor can make your mentee feel that he or she is being fully heard. What do you do to make he or she being fully heard? Can you share with us? Type into the chat window. Listen with intuition. Okay. Yeah, intuition. Okay. Other senses, in addition to the other senses. The non-verbal the nonverbal cues. Yes.
Yeah.
Leaning
That's-
forward.
Yeah, and that's why text messages are so easily misinterpreted sometimes.
Yes.
Because we don't have all these cues.
Yes, it's very hard, I think. I just find it hard. And the language that we use has to be really, thought through a little bit more.
Right.
Eye contacts, empathy. Yeah, eye contact, of course. Yeah, all leaning forward, eye contacts. Probably hands or arms open, right? Welcoming, non-judgmental. Okay, acknowledging, yes, acknowledging, okay. Oh, okay, I can understand, yeah, acknowledging verbally. To remember, yes, and probably, and when we remember, we also want to also to summarize back, right? To summarize back to the mentee what you understood, what you heard and understood. Quite important.
Paraphrasing, yes.
Acknowledging, showing empathy. How do we show empathy? How do we show empathy? Provide space. Paraphrasing, yes, summarizing, paraphrasing to make sure that you understood. Anyone? How do we show empathy? How do we show empathy? Anyone? I think some of you already gave the answer already. Saying I hear you and I'm with you. Yes, I hear you and I'm with you. Encouraging the mentee to speak more. Anyone else? How do you show empathy? Empathy is about what? Empathy is about emotions, isn't it? It's about feeling, it's about emotions. So anytime when we can acknowledge or address the emotion that's underlying the words that's being spoken, you're showing empathy. Also showing empathy is also showing understanding of your employee, your mentee's perspective, isn't it? Yeah. So anytime when we address an emotion, hey, sounds like you're having a really rough time. Yes, Daniel. From what you're saying, sounds like you're having a rough time. So that's addressing the underlying feeling. That your mentee may not be telling you I'm having a rough time, but you can tell. Right, and you can say, oh, I feel like you're frustrated. Or it sounds like you're a bit sad. Sounds like you're not so happy. That kind of thing. Anytime when we address the underlying emotions, we're showing empathy. Okay. Anything else? And showing empathy is very, very important, right? Being able to address the emotions in our work in youth mental wellness, mental well-being. It's always about being able to address, the underlying emotions. In some ways, be able to also read the tea leaves, right? And to show how this person really feeling. How are they doing? And also, good. Yeah, I'm hearing you. I hear that you're really excited about this opportunity. Yeah, that's addressing the positive, right? Also showing that. Having a rough, yes, very good. Okay, very good. A lot of great examples. Anything else? Shall we move on? So yeah, so it's about active listening. It's about listening, not just with our ears, of course, but with our, with our eyes, right? With our whole body language and even with our heart. Let's think about. Okay, let's watch this next video, and then we'll talk more.
In contrast to the roadblocks, active listening encourages the other person who has the problem to say more about it. Active listening is an empathic way of reflecting back both the words and feelings the troubled person has expressed to see if you have understood correctly. Notice the change in Rebecca now that she has learned to active listen.
Hey Matt, what's going on?
Oh, nothing you want to hear about.
Not having a good day?
No, not exactly. You know that licensing deal that I've been doing with that San Diego company for months now? Well, I thought it was going to be a really good opportunity for us, and they were all gung-ho, but now I am not so sure.
Oh, well, that's just... Oh, okay, hold on, Rebecca. You can do better than that. Remember what they said about the behavior window.
He's the one with the problem right now, so...
So, you had really high hopes and now you're having second thoughts, huh?
Yeah, exactly. You know, I've done a lot of these deals, and they'll take a couple weeks, maybe a few months, but this is just getting ridiculous.
Not used to negotiations dragging on like this.
Right, and I thought we were close a couple times, and then they asked for a concession, and I meet them more than halfway. Then I get an email this morning, and they want to postpone signing the contract till the end of the year. I am so done.
You feel like you've given them all that you can, and now you're just done.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I got a friend whose company does business over there, and he said he's surprised it's taking so long. He also said that he thinks there's other companies in San Diego who would be interested in our software.
Oh, so you got another perspective.
Yeah. I think I've just been so focused on this one thing that I just lost sight of the big picture. What I need to do is develop some more leads there.
Yeah, sounds like you're feeling ready to move on.
Yeah, I think I am. Hey, thanks.
You're welcome. And keep me posted.
Yeah, will do.
Active listening gives the other person a chance to express their feelings and to move from a superficial problem to the deeper, more basic problem. It keeps responsibility with the other person and allows them to find their own solution.
Okay. What do people think? What are the few things that came out for you about that one? I think she did the Rebecca in this case did a couple of things really brilliantly. Can we answer some of these questions? Can you help someone answer some of these questions? Again, using the chat, please. How did Rebecca respond to her colleague? What are some of the things that she did well? Yeah, how did most people react when somebody shares a problem with you? And how do you usually respond? So how did Rebecca respond to her colleague? Can you share that? Yeah. Yeah, good body language, good tone of voice, yeah, and relevant question, active listening. Pause before we responded. She kept her suggestion, but just paraphrase to show that she was listening. Pausing before responding. Yes, we talked about that, isn't it? Yeah, don't rush to respond. Self-awareness, okay. Reiterate the emotions and feelings back to her colleagues. Oh, yes. Giving attention. Yeah, giving our time and attention. Responded to the emotions and reflected back so that he could feel heard and understood. Acknowledging the emotions. Showing, yeah, that you understood the emotions and yeah. Yeah, so I think you all got it. You all got it, right? It's about showing interest, right? Showing, that you're listening. But more importantly, refraining from trying to provide a solution, right? We all want to do that. We all want to be fixers. And then really just, listen to understand what's, kind of listen to the emotion that's behind, right? The words, we talked about that before, that's empathy, right? And to reflect back, to paraphrase. Paraphrasing does two things, right? It makes sure that we understood what was being said. And secondly, the other party will hear back what he or she actually just communicated, right? And in that process, realize what happened. It just leads him naturally to to an idea or a solution that came out of this, which he probably already had in his mind anyway. By hearing it back, being listened to and hearing it back in those words really help us to kind of crystallize our own thinking, isn't it? And then, after that very short conversation, very effective, ready, I'm ready to move on. You say, oh, thanks. But all she did was she listened and she paraphrased. listen, she shows her interest, and she paraphrases it back, right? And then out of that was a solution that he was, actually that already was in him. So that's the thing about all this, is that most of the time, the other party, our mentee or whoever, right, already has a solution somewhere in there, because they know their own issues, right? Yeah, and then we just kind of help lead them. And again, this is one of the main roles of mentee, being a mentor, right? To help lead them to that natural solution, right? By being that listening, paraphrasing, asking good questions kind of partner, isn't it? Hoglide, anything you want to add?
I was just thinking about the word, I think it was Daniel who used validate. And you said that the colleague already have the answer in him. And sometimes it's just that validation. Help him to say, okay, I can go ahead, I will do it. That hope that it's been given to him, that he can move forward. Yeah, I think that's the role, one of the roles of the mentor.
Yes,
Yeah.
very good. Validation.
Validate
Yes.
what is already in that person.
Yes, very good. Thank you. Acknowledging and validating. I think that's sometimes we just need a bit of validation, right? Because sometimes we're just not sure. If someone validating us, someone who we trust can validate us, hey, that's gonna do a lot for us.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. That was great. Thank you, everybody. Is
you
this,
frozen?
are
you frozen?
Is it cold? Is it, what's the temperature today like? Is it cold?
Yeah, I tell you what,
I
Yan
keep
Lu,
on getting frozen.
It's the rain, it's the rain.
Is it raining? Oh my God, it's raining. Yes.
Yan Lu, I will share instead. Why
Okay.
don't you stop sharing? I'll share.
Sure.
I have got the slides. I'll share. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm good now. Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Okay.
I think you prompted my computer. It's just, I think it's Zoom or something. Anyways, okay. So what is active listening? Just to summarize what everybody's been saying, right, already, that's really, what is active listening? It really is being curious and interested in what other person has to say, right? It's being curious and interested. And how do we do that? We know how to, just by, listening with intent, right? We talked about it already, showing the body language, feeling honored that someone, is sharing their information, sometimes personal information with you, right? It's an honor, right? To be in that same space with them, that they trust you enough, right? Not knowing what's next, or being, let's say, not knowing, just being present, being fully present. We talked about that already. Listening and being fully present, being alerted to what is being said, being aware of the physical cue. Yes, the whole communication spectrum, right? All the senses, including our intuition, and us listen to what's unsaid as well as what's being said. Wow, we're gonna talk about this a little bit more. How do we listen to what's unsaid versus what's being said? What is unsaid? Things are not they haven't uttered certain words or specific words, but sometimes you can sense, right, from your intuition, or something that just maybe some vibes are sending out, that there's something, right, that it's about reading the tea leaves, isn't it? Yeah, it's questioning, looking at the body language and all that, facial expression. Right? Listen, you have to listen to that as well. Good mentors will listen to what's unsaid, right? What's in their heart and in their mind. How do we do that? Okay. Yeah, I love studying Chinese culture. So this is let me remind you again that the Chinese language, the Chinese culture has been around for about 7,000 to 8,000 years. Okay, the work of I Ching was written about that time. Initially, the first version of it, And the Chinese character system was invented 5,000 years ago. 5,000 years ago. And as you may know, the study who have studied the Chinese language and Chinese characters, who knows understand Chinese, you know that the meaning of a character in Chinese is the composition of the meaning of its parts, right? Chinese language is pictographic, right? So the meaning, all the meanings expressed right, in the character itself, and the meaning of the character is expressed is a composition of the meaning of its parts. So let's take apart this character Ting, right? Ting means what? What is it? What is a Ting? What is the character for? Anybody? Yeah, thank you. Listen, right? Ting is listen. Okay, listen. Okay, let's break apart Ting. Yeah, to see what are its parts. Okay, on the left we have the character on the upper left is right, which means ear. So we listen, of course, when we listen, we have to listen with our ear. Ear comes first. And on the bottom left is Wang, which is king, right? So in listening, ear is king, of course. Right? Ear is king. On the right, we have something that looks like plus and something that looks like eye. So we have to listen with our eyes. We have to listen with our ears and our eyes. And in fact, we have to listen to all of our senses, our body. Lastly, on the bottom right, we have the character Yi, which is one, and then Xin, which you all recognize as the heart. Yi Xin means what? One heart, undivided attention, being fully present, right? So this is this character represents deep listening. We're listening with our ear, listening with our eye, our body language, and listening with one heart, listening with undivided attention, being fully present in that space, right? There's a bubble that holds you and your mentee together in that space. There's nothing else. So this is deep listening. And through deep listening, that's how we can know what's, you can listen to what's unsaid as well as what's being said when you're in that space. Okay, Hao Lai, we're going to talk about questioning. Hao Lai, back to you.
Thank you. So for us to be able to listen, we need to start asking questions. And here what it says is, first one, garbage in, garbage out. Answers we receive depends on the type of question we ask. Yes, to a large extent. And it's also to our ability to continue to ask the question. Sometimes you don't get the answer that you're looking for, and then you need to continue to ask the question. So it's okay sometimes to ask the wrong question, but it's the ability to continue to ask the question too. Asking the right question is the heart of effective communication that gives clarity to what you are looking for from your mentee. And effective questions are powerful and thought-provoking. And sometimes effective questions are very simple. And it need not be very difficult or deep questions. And I think the best kind of question we can ask are open-ended questions. Next slide, please, Yan. And usually at the start of mentoring session, it could be very surface questions, polite general question, how are you? And things like that. How was your weekend? Just to get yourself into the right mood. And those questions need not be very difficult or very deep. And throughout the sessions, as a mentor, you would like to start to ask learning questions so that you can move the conversation or the dialogue towards a path of discovery and for learning. And what do you learn, and what else do you see? What more can you do? Question like this. So I'd like to go through an exercise on what are learning questions. And learning questions have the ability to create awareness, change perspective, even challenge some assumptions, and elicit some action. That means instigate some actions from your mentee. let's do that exercise. Yan Lu, next slide. You're hung.
Yeah, I'm froze.
I think Zoom only allow you 3 slides at a time.
It looks like. Yeah, what version of Zoom are you running? I don't know what version I'm running.
I will share, all right?
Okay, sure.
think-
Let me share.
Let me share, okay?
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, can y'all see?
Yes.
Yes, thank
Could
you.
move it to slide 13?
Yeah. So,
This one, yes. Thank you.
yeah. So guys, this is all pre-planned, you know? So we get Braille involved in all the slide stuff.
So what we'll do is go through the questions that we have on the right. And if you could type into the chat what you think the type of question are, whether is it about creating awareness or changing perspective or challenging assumptions or eliciting action. So first question is, where are you now on the scale of 1 to 10? What kind of learning question is that? Where are you now on the scale of 1 to 10? Creating awareness, yes.
Awareness.
Yes, awareness.
Yeah.
So frame the mentee in where he is in the scale of his problem or the situation that he's in. The next question, what would be your next step? After telling you his situation, telling you what he has already done, what would be your next step? Yes, that's right, elicit an action. And asking him to think about what he can do next. And yes, a little bit of awareness too.
Yeah.
We already said that most of the time the answer is within the mentee. So making him aware, he already know what he wants to do, just expressing it. Yes, that could be that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then the next question, who is stopping you? Who is stopping you?
Who's stopping you?
Challenging an assumption. That's right. Yes, challenging an assumption. When the mentee describe how difficult it is or where he's stuck or where he's facing some hurdle, and you ask the question, who is stopping you? Yes, challenging assumptions. That's right. And if I could ask, who was it just now? Yeah, Sumya Singh, do you think that it could be also about awareness? Who is stopping you?
Yes, I think
awareness as well. That's right. Yes.
Yes.
Because sometimes, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I think more on the awareness, but sometimes even though in the role of a mentor, but our own self, like whatever like prejudices or like mindset or like views that we have,
yeah,
that sometimes, I mean, personally, I feel like that, stops myself from further probing into the area in the role of a mentor.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes it's us holding ourselves back. And that kind of question can be also a self-awareness question. And next one, how might this be done differently? What kind of question is that? Perspective, yes. That's right, giving yourself another way of looking at it. If you feel stuck or if you feel there's a difficulty, how can you change another way of looking at it and do something different? That's right. And next one, what if the obstacle did not exist? What do you think? Normally, this question have a lot of varied question. Oh, perspective, everybody thinks.
Perspective. Yeah.
Perspective.
Yeah, perspective.
Next one, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about this? Awareness.
Awareness.
Yes, awareness. In my session, I like to use this question a lot. We're not so used to assessing our own emotions. And asking this question always allow the mentee to assess their own emotions and to express it. And that creates one of the most powerful questions in any sessions. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? Action, yes.
Action.
When? The when
Yeah,
question.
when.
How?
Yeah.
Yes. And the next one, tell me about a recent success. Awareness, yes. Perspective, yes.
Yeah.
Awareness, perspective, yes, yes. Awareness because it help you to relive your successes and make you aware of that, the feeling that you had it when you were successful and the joy that you have. And perspective sometimes is to, when you are describing a challenge, a failure, describing another success help you to look at your challenge and failure quite differently too. Yeah. Elicit action. Okay, that's a
okay,
new
that's
one.
a one. Yeah, I've never seen that one before.
You want to elaborate on that, Rio?
Because when they recount their success, when they share with you their success, generally it increases confidence, self-confidence.
Yes.
So when they say that they have done this before and all that, right? And they hear themselves, they actually realize that, hey, you know what? I could do this because I've done this before.
Right, right.
So it also elicits action
Yes.
Okay.
to help themselves get unstuck from where they are or where they think they are.
Yes, yes. I see from Daniel, motivation to moving forward. So is that kind of, elicit action. Yeah, give them the motivation. Great. We have Ramesh coming in. Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's go on to the next slide. So as we have gone through about listening, asking questions, what mentoring is about is really an ongoing conversation that creates insight for the mentee and the mentor. The mentee start to be more aware of himself, and the mentor start to understand the mentee much better, and that's where the safe space, the calmness is created. But mentoring is not only just about getting to know each other and having a safe space, having a shoulder to tap. It's also about moving things forward. And I think that's where facilitation skills are necessary. So could I have the next slide, please? So facilitation can make conversation richer because it helps you to frame what is possible in the future. So facilitate is the act of engaging participants in creating, discovering, and applying learning insights. It's an art of moving a conversation or discussion or meeting towards achieving a specific goal. So facilitation helps to move things forward. And that is also very important in the mentoring relationship. And what are the unique qualities of a facilitator? If I could have the next two slides. Yeah, next slide, please. So we have it here from the early part is very similar to a good mentor. Listening skills, we talk about asking questions. Then we are moving back more to the giving feedback. These are usually further down in your mentoring relationship. Start to give feedback, making connections of different things that are happening, both for strategic and tactical, some very specific actions or behaviors. Some is more thinking forward, having a 5-year plan and having life purpose and things like that. So it's both strategic and tactical, self-regulating and staying calm, keeping the big picture. And that's where the understanding both the strategic and tactical directions are important. Breaking down the learnings, I think Andy spoke about that, breaking down all the learnings into smaller bite size, easier to digest, and taking it moving forward and not be help to clarify things and not be stuck with all the different parts of the problem. Planning, self-development skills, and ability to inspire, and clarity of thoughts. If I could have the next slide. So how a conversation or, and these are conversations, right? We are not talking about in one session. In the various sessions that you have with your mentee, a good way to start is always with enthusiasm, so that they feel that good in contributing and expressing themselves. Building commitments. Usually towards the end of a session, you want to agree with your mentee, what will he do next? What will he do between this session and the next session? So you build some commitment to the actions that he can take. And we can close with a hope by saying that, okay, let's see how this progress. Let's see what other improvement you have made, and we can always check it in by during the ending of the session. And even in the overall conversation, building commitment, you have so many other slides. Okay. Okay, one more. Yeah, this slide 36. Real. Yeah, you probably need to press because I think they put a lot of transition in this. Yeah. Yeah, I just put it all out. Usually we can suggest changes in behavior first. If you are working with your mentee, you can suggest on how he can change the way he do certain things or act on certain things as an initial start to achieving the goal and moving it forward. And then in following up session, it's always good to follow through with those recommendations. And that's question like, how did it work out? What do you learn? This is to reinforce the learning that you have. And what do you like about it? That means there are parts where they did well, and also parts that they didn't do well. How could you have done it differently? And that's to help him continue his process, because he might not reach the desired goal or the where he wants to be. And finally, when he achieve it, that's where you start to ask the learning question, like, what would you do next? That means he feels confident to move to the next step. When would you do that again? What would you change? Even if you have succeeded, what would you change? And how would you want to move forward? Very similar to what would you do next? So by doing this line of questioning and encouraging the changes in the habits that you go forward with, he will have the mentee will have the ability to reflect on what is useful for him and improve on what has not been useful. And this will normally help to make him continue this new behavior, new way of doing things by moving it forward. Yeah. So this is one way we can take our various sessions with our mentee. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so we're going to start to bring us to a conclusion. Yeah, so just to kind of summarize, you know, what the learnings, the key learnings so far. So yeah, so it's not just about, you know, listening, but it's about asking, you know, asking the questions, especially the learning questions that we all just went through. And it's about facilitating the whole conversation, so to allow learning, you know, and growth to take place. And that's facilitation, isn't it? Listening, again, listening with intent, listening active listening and deep listening, and questioning, going beyond superficial questions, surface questions, to go into deeper learning questions, right? Either to create awareness, to change perspective, to challenge them, to stretch them, right? One of the key things that mentors should do. And lastly, to elicit actions, right? So it's all about, in order for progress to be made, it's all about taking actions, isn't it? And about learning from those actions. So that's one of the key roles of mentors, to make that happen, to facilitate, to make it happen. Okay, so this is kind of a framework, what we call the mentoring skills model. I'd like to share quickly with you. Basically, we talked about a lot of this already. There's on the left, there's sort of what we call mentee specific skills. And then there's mentor specific skills on the right. And there's the skill sets that, that involves both, there's overlap, right? So obviously, both we talked about it, right? About listening, on both sides, building trust, whether you're a mentor or mentee, right? About being encouraging. Yes, the mentee also needs to be encouraging as well, right? So both of us, we're mutually encouraging, we're mutually inspiring, right? So that we are both on this journey to learn together, right? To enjoy each other's, each other's company, each other's enjoying the relationship, and jointly. And of course, it's going to be the mentee's goals and objectives and reality, but it's going to be, the mentors, part of the mentors, so to help them to identify those goals and to highlight on the reality of things, right? And then how they move from reality to goal. That's a grow model. On the left, we have mentee specific skills, and you can see that for yourself, some of the things that mentee. So these are the things that we will focus on if we do a mentee training course, which we're not today, but these are the things that maybe you as a mentor can help your mentee on, right? About how they can better acquiring mentors, right? Because in our life, we're gonna need more than one mentor for sure. How do we actually go out and get people want to mentor us? How do we acquire mentors? How do we learn, right? How do we learn and learning quickly? How do we showing initiative? We all want our mentee to show initiative. I want my mentee to show initiative, right? To drive the conversation, right? Because again, it's their journey at the end of the day, right? We're just there to help guide them, right? And to share, right, our own mistakes and wisdom. It's how they follow through, managing that relationship. And lastly, on the right, we have the mentor skill model for the mentors. And these are, of course, all about helping the mentee develop capabilities, right? Either through sharing our own, right, experiences and wisdom, advising them, right, or guiding them on what else they can develop, right? Encouraging them. Of course, it's about inspiring. We talked about how that's a very important role. Providing feedback, managing risk, and lastly, about opening doors, right? One of the things I do as a mentor a lot is to help them open doors, right? Whether it's in the corporate environment or whether it's out there, especially if it's an entrepreneur, who opening door, it means a lot. It could make a big difference. Introducing to the right people, the right resources, right? So this slides give you a good summary, right? The kinds of skills and resources and things that we need to do individually and collectively as mentor and mentee. Any questions on this? Anything? No? Good? Okay. Okay. Now we still have this. We still have a big part. I almost forgot. Oh my God. Okay. We're gonna have a couple of studies, mentoring case studies. We'll call mentoring action that Hawk Lai and I will want to kind of guide you through. Right? We do it as a group. Okay. Yeah. This is really, to me, this is the fun part. Okay, Hawk Lai?
Yeah. So we are going to have 2 cases, case study, and we will break you up into groups. And how many groups will we have, you think, Braille, if we were to break them up?
6. If you want 3 in each group, will be 6.
Yeah, okay, good. 6 group means that the first 3 group, from group 1 to group 3, you will be taking the first case, which is this, navigating politics. The thing we are doing is that we are going to assign you randomly. So that means you don't know which group you are in first. So when we show the cases, please make sure you take picture of both the slides, so that we can you can refer to them while you're discussing with your group. So the first case is on navigating politics. So I'll try to read through that quickly. I work with a highly political environment. I'm new here, but I can see that everyone is worried about what the boss think and say. They spend a lot of time discussing his moods and telling stories about the time when the boss lost his temper. I don't want to leave as yet because I've just started. I don't know who to trust, and I'm concerned about someone backstabbing me. How do I do my job well and not be affected by the politics around me? And should I participate in the politics as a survival strategy? So that's case 1, right? Navigating politics. We are also, I think, copying it and putting it in the chat. The next case, slightly longer, and these are real cases that we experienced from our mentors who share their cases. Xiaoming graduated 2 years ago with an engineering degree and joined a mid-sized engineering company going through digital transformation. And due to his interest and experience in the latest design software, he quickly got involved in the implementing of the skill conversion for the design engineers. Together with his supervisor, he sourced for a vendor and coordinated on the implementation of the training program. He found a growing interest in the area of training and facilitation, and even participated in the redesigning of the training program with the vendor. 3 months ago, an opportunity came for him to join an established training school to be part of a program development team, and Xiaoming jumped on it. During the last mentoring session, and after spending a month with the new company, Xiaoming told you he's demotivated and is thinking of resigning. Being part of a large training institution, he found his role narrowed into a silo without real interaction with the other departments. He also disagreed with the future direction of the company that puts focus on program development, training the trainers, and farming out the actual training to other companies. How would you mentor Xiaoming? So we have the cases in the chat. If you can also please take a picture of the slides. And we will have 10 minutes. Oh, did we say 20 or 10? We have time, Yenlu. Shall we give them about up to
15 maybe?
15 minutes.
15
yes.
minutes? Okay,
15
sure.
minutes. So you'll be in group of 3s. Share your experience from what we discussed today, or even from your personal experience. How would you mentor the 2 mentees in both cases? Again, group 1 to group 3, case 1 on the navigating politics, and group 4 to group 6, you'll be doing the second case on the training institute and wanting to resign.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, I'm having trouble pasting the second case into the chat. Can someone help me do that? I don't know why it's not coming in.
Could it be too long?
Maybe, huh? How long? I don't know how long. Oh, okay, could be.
Could be. So if you could
Break it up, maybe break it up,
Yeah.
break it up. Okay. Yes, thank you. That's the reason. Okay, let me break it up. So you have it there as well. Yep. Okay, so we got both. We got it all in there.
Okay, good.
Good.
So, Braille, you can start to break them up into groups.
Okay, so I'm going to open all the rooms now. It's randomly assigned. Okay, so just take note of what room you're in. Okay, see
So
you
it's
all.
11:30 now.
The room will close automatically. I've
Okay.
programmed the room to close automatically after 15 minutes. And you'll get a prompter 60 seconds before that.
So
Okay, enjoy yourself, everybody, and let's look forward to coming back in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, see you all.
see you all.
When we do such exercises, the first feedback we have is that time is too short, not enough time to do. But I hope this time is more than enough time, 50 minutes.
Not enough time.
So how,
Not enough time, never enough, hotline.
Never enough time.
time always enough, money not enough.
Money not enough.
Money can be managed.
Yeah.
So I always say this, when if money is an issue, it's not an issue. Yeah, because time we only have 24 hours. You don't have time means you don't have time. You cannot buy more time.
Yeah.
Okay, we can go into the big discussion on buying time.
Yeah.
Okay, and even buying love with money. But okay, digressing. So how I suggest we do this is that we'll ask each group to share what you discussed, and around the 3 questions that we have here, what are the issues here, what can be done, and who can help. And group 1 will go on case 1, and then when group 2 come on, you can try not to repeat what group 1 has said and just add on to it so that we can save some time. And because we have time today, we have luxury to do that. So can I invite someone from group 1 to talk about your discussion, to brief us about your discussion? Who is in group 1? Braille, do you have the name list or is lost in the breakout? You are on mute, Braille.
I was in group 1, Ping Lun and Joey.
Okay, could one of you?
Joey and Ping Lun, yes.
One of you, please, volunteer yourself to summarize your discussion.
I'll give it a go, and then the other 2 members can join in as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've felt that one of the downsides of having a short case study is that there are too insufficient details for us to actually come to a consensus of what's the problem statement actually. So for example, I felt that the boss could have been his immediate boss, whereas Joey felt that they could be talking about a higher level boss. So that was one thing. I felt that based on what I read, there could be a lot of missing information, as in group of people talking about their boss. There's no evidence that he's really very political yet. At least I don't think I would jump to that conclusion without actually having interacted with that person. So I felt that it would be worthwhile for him to actually spend time to get to know that person a bit better, to kind of validate for himself whether indeed, he's dealing with a very political situation or person. Andy, Joey?
Yeah, so I was giving an example that maybe the communication structure is not clear. This could be a small setup, maybe. So a lot of decisions are directive given by the boss. So the boss may need to empower the staff more. And this guy may be in an awkward situation if he's new. And so he doesn't have a direct route to the big boss to ask things directly. And so maybe he could ask the HR department or the person that hired him and provide his or her feedback, what are the challenges and issues that he's facing. And and think positively, how he can overcome from a work perspective and not be too bothered by the noise.
Yeah. So kind of having a different perspective, looking at the possibilities of working around the situation. Right? Thank you, Joey and Ping Lun. How about group 2? Any other insights to the case and as a mentor to the mentee?
Right. So actually what we did was hi, I'm Melissa. Yeah.
Hi, Melissa.
Hello. I think what we did was really to analyze the situation based on what the mentee was actually sharing with us in this context, and also trying to understand what is actually happening in the environment in the workplace in itself. So I guess what we shared was really also our own perspective lah. Yeah. But I think what we thought could be one of the few of the issues. One is actually a lack of working experience. And because of that, there's a lack of confidence in dealing with the situation on the mentee's end. Also on the mentee's end, there's probably practical and emotional boundaries that he or she is not very sure of. Meaning that, okay, where is my role in all of these? Like, I'm just a small fry, then, you know, how should I respond? What should I do? If I don't go along with them, then will they ostracize me? You know, so there's a lot of boundaries that is being challenged, and it's very, very scary lah. We also realized that there could be a conflict in value system, both on the organizational level and also at the individual level. Yeah, that maybe the mentee himself has certain values that is being challenged because of what he's seeing based on the political environment. And that may also cause a fear in getting backstabbed lah. Yeah.
Thanks, Melissa. And I think what your group will come up with would be a lot about areas where you can help your mentee see or gain the experience or share the experience. We'll take some sessions to bring him to that level. Yeah.
I think, Hotline, just to add, I think in our group, we talk about a lot about the mentees' awareness. So that we need to help the mentees find themselves in the midst of all this noise, right? Why is he there in the first place? Why did he work in this organization? Now that he's been there, maybe I don't know how long he's been there, because like what Peng Lun mentioned, there's not a lot of detail in terms of the background. So we may not have the full appreciation. But assuming he's there for 1 year and then he's feeling this way, then we would like to know, why did he even stay there for a year? Or what's the purpose of being there? And what is he hoping, what did he join them to achieve? Ultimately, back to the fundamentals, right? Who he is, where am I, where do I want to go? Because this could be noise that is affecting him. These are triggers, right? But then ultimately, seriously, where is the awareness of that oneself? And then once he hasn't discovered that awareness, or he knows exactly what he's looking at, then after that, we can then start to look at alternatives of what he could do or could not do, or what he wants or don't want to do. There was something else that we talk about in our group, which is that this is actually a very good case in the sense as in, let's all recognize also that our mentees that we are going to mentor for this program are youth. They all grew up in a very different environment as we have. So, you know, this mentee said, should he quit his job? You and I know during, at least for some of us, at least for me personally, I couldn't afford to quit my job for at least more than 15 years of my life, because I was the sole breadwinner, right? So I cannot afford to even think of quitting my job, even though I was in a very political environment, right? So I think let's also recognize that as a mentor, when we go into this mentoring relationship, because we are coaching youth, our youth grew up in a very different environment, right? So they come from a different background, different setting, and then how we don't use our own judgment or our own environment to actually prejudge or think about putting them in that box. That's all. That's the only thing I would like to leave with everybody.
That's a good point, and be aware of the situation that the mentee could be in.
Yes.
And steer more towards, in this case, the self-awareness of himself in the situation, as well as the awareness of the environment around him. Yeah. Good, thanks, Bray. Group 3, anyone would like to add to this? Who is in group 3?
So group.
Yeah, Edmund. Yeah.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay, we had 3 different approaches. So Daniel was sharing that firstly, we need to know whether this person, okay, generally in different cases where there's very junior person and there's very senior person. For more junior, younger people, right? Sometimes they will want to be, their approach is they want to be told rather than to be guided along too much. They come to, especially when they are already approaching and looking for a mentor, they want to be told what to do. If we ask them too many questions, although it's guiding, to let them to explore, they might be a bit put off. So we have to take that into consideration. So perhaps we can put this in the context that under my aim. So these are, we just regard this as younger people. JC did mention that giving them in smaller bite size, as compared to my perspective of quite philosophical, I would, okay, since you are aware that you do not like this backstabbing situation there, understand the situation, know that the company has employed you to do a job. First, focus on firming up your ground there, doing well in your job, and in the first place, you will be appreciated for what you are, for your presence there in the first place. The rest, you can listen in. Daniel, JC all mentioned it. You can listen in. You can gather the information. These are more information gathering. Okay, if the boss doesn't like certain things, and it's not in conflict with you, just don't do it. Just don't do it. Remain neutral. Do your job first. If you feel gossip, danger points are not for you, then you just avoid them. Yeah. If it personally engages you, of course, think about it in relation to your work. Yeah.
Thanks, Edmund.
Yeah, Daniel and JZ, please let me know if I gave some correct recommendations there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Evan.
Thanks. So I think what you group 3 added on is the awareness of what level is the mentor. I think similar to what is Edmund. Maybe you have to mute yourself. I think there's a feedback. Yeah. Being aware of mentee situation, senior, junior, and take the appropriate style during the mentoring process. At some point, they just want to hear your experience and how they can best do it. At some point, you can guide them along the way. But bring them back to what Braille is saying, is back to the core. You are there to do a job, do your job well, that kind of things. Yeah. Great. Good sharing, thank you. I just closed the case by saying that sometimes we see the reality as we are. So the self-awareness can be raised by maybe he's checked on his own politicalness of dealing with things. Yeah.
It sounds like this company needs to start a mentoring program, and they should call AIM.
Yes. And could we move to case 2?
Yeah.
Slightly long case. Yeah. And could someone from group 4 like to share your discussion?
Ruth, Florence, and Moon Lake is in group 4.
Okay.
Could I ask Ruth who did a good job in taking notes?
Okay, guys.
Moon Lake, we have you.
Yeah.
Ruth took very good notes, but let me just look at my chat and then see where the notes are. Okay, we actually looked at many different aspects. So I'll just sort of like, just shout out what we discussed.
Yes.
And see whether it makes sense. We looked at the situation, and then, one of the things that we saw was some mismatch of expectations for this Xiaoming. And especially in this new environment, thinking that when he left his former place to this new place, he would be able to do something which he found he wasn't able to. We look at maybe like a feeling of regret to jump the gun and switch jobs. What we thought might be helpful in the situation is actually to, first of all, calm oneself down, because it looked quite emotional on many aspects for his actions. So it's a calm oneself down, do some self-reflection first, to find out like what are his strengths, what are his core values, what's really important to him. That's the first thing. So it's look inward first, but then outwardly to explore, to gather information, because it's only been in that place for 3 months. So there's still a lot of things that one may not be aware of in terms of the bigger picture of the organization. Is there a possibility he's in the right role but wrong organization or not? Is there someone that he could speak to in a way to find out, to voice some of his concerns? And I think what we also talked about is the fact that sometimes an organization does certain things is because it's based on what they know and the resources they have at the moment. If there is someone that comes in that may have value add in another area, right? And if they're aware of that, there may be a possibility too to also open up a new area. But all these needs a lot of exploration, a lot of discussion, an open discussion. The tone has to be right, the emotion has to be right. So basically, what sort of saying in this situation is not to quickly react, out of a knee jerk or emotion or impulsivity, but to really reflect inwardly and then explore outwardly, look at everything before making any major decision, because we don't want jumping from one thing to another. It doesn't reflect well on the CV as well. Yeah, that's it. Anything else to add, my group mates?
I think you did quite well.
Yes. Yes, you did.
It's very similar to case one, where first look at yourself, calm down, look inwardly, why you're doing it, your values, and also at the same time, explore what is in your environment. And that's where the mentor add the experience of the corporate world, the career, and the organization. That's where you add from your experience. Yeah, very similar. Group 5, you have more to add to that. Would you like to add to that? Yiling?
Yes, Shok and Sumaya, I think we roughly also spoke about, I think, understanding the goals of the mentee, because he was, the first company he joined. We also acknowledge, the two of us kind of acknowledge that actually there are two different industry altogether that he has joined. So maybe something that we, from our years of experience, we could highlight that to him, and then from there understand the goals of him, because he went in, being an engineer and got into interest in training. And so understanding his goals and where is he now and how would we like to bring forward, and probably that would be, and then something like who can help, we should maybe, because of the different industry, then maybe we should spend some time really looking for people, maybe inside, to understand a little bit more where the company is taking, this new company is going, because he said he disagree with the vision and the program forward, and try to understand a little bit more from him, also from us understanding more from him, where is it, what is this all about, and and how can that company match him eventually, how do we then move together? Yeah, I'm not sure, Shok and because we want to repeat what Moonlight and they all said. So Sumaya,
actually the thing is, this is Shok. Actually the thing is that what we are seeing was also that because different companies with different skills, different kind of jobs, actually it's not the job, it's rather it's the skills. So what is it in the skills that can actually bring him towards his goal? I think that was what we're trying to talk about as to what is it in the job, what is it in the first job that he was actually so excited about that he jumped the gun. So there must be something in there. So, and then from there is really, is that the direction towards his short-term goal, his long-term career goal? I think it's the skill sets that we are actually trying to focus on, so that we can focus him on that before looking and to see whether is it the industry, is it the company, and then after that drill down to what exactly is it that he's having issues with.
Oh, that's great. So that's great. That's a good one. So it's kind of helping him to peel away the onions, right? Self-discovery, his talent, his passion, his skills. That's a good one.
And in another way, looking at it from a different perspective and not be crowded by what is immediate, what is causing him to react. That's true. Group 6, who is in group 6 would like to add to this?
Ramesh, Rebecca, and James.
Okay, Ramesh. Rebecca. Hi, Ramesh.
Hi.
Hello. I think group 4 and 5 covered the key points. I think one other dimension that we discussed was about values. I mean, I think in group 5 talk about what was it that that this person liked in his old job and what is he not finding here. So I think James hinted at the idea of maybe the values are not compatible. He has certain values and he finds that in his new environment, he's not seeing the match happen. Maybe he didn't see it clearly enough. So I guess a discussion also, how do you get someone to discuss or discover their values? And I think that could happen maybe after the person calms down, because you can see that he's disappointed, he's some level of emotion and all that. So I think that was what it was. So we sort of, I think, add on in terms of that point of view, have him discover his values and then see how that fits into perhaps understanding his reason for moving this to this sort of a role. And then perhaps that could be an indicator that actually he may like something, the training, the type of work is what he finds meaningful, which can help him in his career pathway down the road. But you don't look down the road because you need to get him to understand himself first.
Yes.
Yeah, so my teammates can add, but I think that was the other point that I thought we discussed that the other groups may not have covered.
Yeah. Wonderful.
So it's so powerful to see that, with 18 mentors, 20 mentors, looking at the different cases, all different perspectives would surface. And I think that's a bit of selling job for him. That's why being in a community of mentors helped to bring up the richness in our mentoring journey and session. Very good discovery of what is in there. And if I were mentoring either of them, I would have gained so much from this discussion too. Yeah, thank you. Yan Lu?
Yeah, thank you, Hak Lai, and thank you, Hak Lai. Well facilitated, and thank you everyone for sharing. That's shed light on the issues and challenges and what can be done. Okay, I think let's move up. What time is it now? How are we doing on time, Braille?
12:07.
Okay, I think we can move to wrap up. Yeah, I think we're near the end. We're near the end. Yeah, thanks for sticking with us so far. Yeah, we have time for lunch. Yeah, right after this. Okay, so I think it's obvious from our conversation so far this morning that these are the mentors' key roles. Yeah, we have the skills, but these are the roles, right? It's to inspire. And number one, inspire and motivate, challenge and teach. Inspire and motivate, challenge and teach. We can do this in different ways, but I think this morning we had a little debate, before this whole thing started, the three of us, Braille, Hak Lai, and I had a debate about, no question about inspiring, motivate, and challenge, but about teaching. And what does that mean in today's context, and millennials and Gen Z and all that? What does teaching mean? Is that, there's a way of teaching that we grew up with, right? How we were taught, very much one way, top down, and there's another way of teaching, which is quite different. So I think, and there are different ways of teaching, and different ways of teaching came out this morning, right? It's about, are we telling? Are we teaching by asking questions, by listening? Are we teaching by facilitating? Are we teaching by sharing? Are we teaching by learning, by role modeling, by leading example? Not what we say, but what we do. By teaching by sharing a story, right? Someone mentioned that. Yeah, all those are different ways of teaching. And that it comes about through this conversation that Hak Lai was, right? Conversation to help move this engagement forward, right? Through that context that we teach. I always love to talk about teachable moments. We're not constantly teaching, but there are moments when we need to teach, as mentors. What are the lessons learned? Just take the example of Xiaoming. What are the teachable moments for that? What do we want him to learn out of that experience, right? The importance of value, maybe importance of values that Ramesh, that his group, brought up, right? Maybe about looking at the values, maybe looking at, okay, exactly what am I passionate about? What is my passion? What are my talents that I need to know, I discover, right? So I can be happier on my next job, right? What are those teachable moments? Hey, is that 3 slides already? I had to count the slides. Let's see.
Want me to share?
Yeah, can you?
I'll share.
You can overwrite my sharing. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
It's
more fun
You
just
have to check your subscription, Yan-Lu.
Okay,
You've not been paying.
I'm good again. Okay, I'm good again.
I said already. You can
I'm
see
good
it there,
again.
right?
I'm good again. Is this yours or mine?
This is mine.
Oh, this is yours. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you're sharing yours. Okay. Anyway, so doesn't matter. Okay. So yeah. So wait. Am I seeing? Yeah. So these are the parameters of this engagement, right? It's about, there are some of the things we talked about already, but there needs to be, I think, upfront, right, and some kind of agreement with you and the mentee, a common understanding what this is about, right? So it's a level of, a commitment to the outcomes that the mentee is trying to achieve, right? A commitment. Right, and and if one of them missing a commitment, that is this relationship is not going to work. And a level of openness to sharing, right, level of vulnerability, and then comes from mutual trust and respect. And respect needs to be built and earned over time, isn't it? And of course, and that comes from also willingness to learn and to share from each other in both ways. Supportiveness, a mutual level of supportiveness. Right, and encouragement, and lastly, of course, confidentiality, commitment, openness, supportiveness, willingness to share and learn, mutual trust and respect, and confidentiality. What happens in the room stays in the room, right? So these are all the things, and it's good to have that kind of understanding, agreement between you and the mentee up front. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you, Braille. Yeah, so I think this is, again, there's nothing that's, no surprises here. We've been talking about it all morning, right? About what this journey looks like. Yeah, it begins and ends with trust, right? And how do we build trust? Listening, questioning, sharing, mutual learning, right? Open willingness to be vulnerable. Yeah. It is about helping the mentee to build a broader and alternative perspective, right? This is very important. Encouraging the mentee, inspiring them to develop, a proactive, positive course. It's all about taking action, the proactive, positive course of action, and getting feedback from that, right? And seeing that from a perspective of learning and growth, right? Helping them to see that. And of course, encouraging them to grow, right, by challenging them, right, by stretching them, right, very important. And one of the mentor's key role is to stretch them, right? And the way we want to stretch them, because we see them as more than what they are and what they could be. Because we can see their potential, right? And of course, lastly, very importantly, to help them and inspire them to help other people, because we're helping, because they see us helping them, right? And that's the spirit. Yeah, next, please. Oh, I love this. I love sharing this slide, because I think for us as a mentor, this is the ultimate goal of all goals. As a mentor, as a human being, how we can help another person, right? I put this slide together. Y'all know about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Y'all know that already. Yeah, it has a pyramid as a shape, by starting as safety and security at the bottom, and self-actualization at the top, right? But actually, it's much more like a sailboat than a pyramid, right? It's about to help someone achieve self-actualization and even transcendence. This is the book by Scott Barry Kaufman, on transcendence, right? He talks about Maslow's work. It's about, first of all, they need to be grounded in safety and self-esteem and connection. Right? Those are our basic needs as human beings. Once they are able to ground it, once they find that, then they are ready to raise their sail, right? If they have love, right, and passion, and they have, you have that purpose, help them to find their purpose, and if they give them the courage to explore, then they are willing to go out and explore, right, and create themselves and recreate themselves, and again and again and again, right? They can do that again multiple times in their life. Yeah, so this is the picture that I would love for you to take away from. By the way, someone has asked to want to have a copy of the slides, so we will share. Braille has a copy of the slides with her, so that she'll share it with you after this, right? Okay. So anyway, but before we do that, I also like to ask you to do this for yourself as a mentor, as a person. Right? And in terms of finding your own purpose and your love, your passion for something, right? Because at the end of the day, the way we can best mentor someone is we can do it for ourselves first. We lead by example. We are the role model. Right? We can be a version of what they, we can inspire them to who they want to become, right? Okay, and I think I have one. Is there any more? Yeah, one more. It's our last slide. And it's really, we talked about, in the beginning, we talked about our mission. Really, our mission is to, to grow mentors, right? And to win the sacred mission of growing people through mentoring. And ultimately, it's about uplifting the human spirit. And the way we do that is to help themselves, to guide them to help themselves, to become a better versions of themselves, and ultimately to self-actualize, right? To fulfill what they are meant to fulfill in their time here. Okay. And with that, I think we can wrap up.